Hey, happy, beautiful, amazing day. Dr. Bob Rakowski here, June 12 of 2020, with more truth and science and facts. So, we look at this great white shark killer, and it probably strikes terror into many, many people. But you know what? The great white shark is not our enemy. And in fact, most attacks are provoked. Isn't that interesting? Take a look at that. Look at the science and see what you see on that. We're going to share some facts about what really kills humans. And people often ask, why should I trust you? Well, my answer is the same. Don't trust anything I say or anything anybody says. Trust your heart and look and verify. Check the facts. I've got 30 years of clinical experience, and I've also got about the same amount of experience teaching doctors all over the world. So I've got a good track record of finding health information and sharing it in a way that adds value. So what are the greatest killers ever? Well, this was an interesting article about the top 10 killers, and we're going to do a countdown from 3, 2, 1. So what is the deadliest species ever? Well, it's man, right? The mosquito has certainly transferred some malaria. Interesting history on malaria. It's still killing a lot of people around the world. I think someone tried to get a vaccine effort for malaria. And by the way, we've had, hundreds of years to study that, and no success yet. So pretty fascinating, Look into that history. That could be pretty interesting. But man certainly kills more men or humans than any other species ever, and nothing's even close. So who was the deadliest human ever? Well, that just happened to be Joseph Stalin. 15 to 60 million deaths are what they're saying. And what was his favorite weapon? It was actually propaganda. Getting people to believe a certain thing, to act in a certain way, to really lure them into circumstances that were really, really, really deadly. And, he kind of said, hey, look, this is for your own good. We're going to create the best society ever. And I want you to study Joseph Stalin, the deadliest man. And, did he stand for personal freedom? Or was he trying to take that away? Was his policy comply, or else we're going to make your life miserable or even end your life? So is there anything being mandated on us or our children? Pretty fascinating, right? So do the actions today mimic Stalin or maybe Gandhi or Mother Teresa? Fascinating there. And what kind of policies do we have in place now? Well, the US rates 37th in the world in terms of, I guess you could call it healthcare, right? We don't have healthcare, we have sick care, and there's not that many industrialized nations in the world. Oh, and then where are we in terms of infant mortality? Number 32 of 34. Number 32 of number 30 of 34 countries they looked at. That's pretty pathetic. Why are our kids dying? Why aren't they healthy? Why are we number 27 on life expectancy? Is it policies that are good for us? Comply or else? Look at what's being mandated and then look at the results through an educated eye. Look at the results through an educated eye. Verify these facts. They're very important facts. And guess what? Father Time is still undefeated. Time is going to take all of us out. So, I had an 80-something-year-old patient. I asked him, what's the most important thing you learned in your 80 years? He said, Bob, life is short. So how do you want to live your life? Is this a short-term thing where you're going to live in fear? Or is this type of stupidity and fear-mongering what others are calling the new normal? Is it going to be your normal? Hey, right now you're still free to make a decision, but somehow, some way, there's a pretty big group of people out there, pretty powerful, that wants to take away that freedom. I keep coming back to this quote: crime, money, power, drugs are all linked. What was Stalin after? Probably money and power. I don't know much about his personal drug habit. Was it a crime against humanity, killing 60 million people? Some might consider it that. Man's always been the most deadly species, but what drives deadly behavior? Power, money, crime, drugs. Are there any of these factors in the COVID pandemic? Are there any drugs in this pandemic? Understand the healthiest people don't worry about COVID. The people that are on drugs are most at risk. How about power, money, and crime? Well, I think the answer is pretty obvious to all of those things. I'm Dr. Bob Rakowski, truth seeker, truth speaker, absolutely knowing that we can all be happy, healthy, and successful.